Hey everyone, my name is Riley and this video is going to show you how you can add animations to your Google Slides. As you can see, I have my slideshow right here. However, if I go along, there's no animations here and it makes the slideshow a little bit boring. So how do we actually go in here and start adding animations to spice up this presentation and take it to the next level? There are two different types of animations that Google Slides allows us to do. The first type is called a transition, and this is where it animates the entire slide when you switch from one slide to another, and that looks like this. Or alternatively, we have specific image animations that look a little bit more like this, and like this. In this video, I'm going to show you how to get both of these type of transitions in your Google Slides. So let's go ahead and do that. The first type of animation that we are going to talk about is the transition animation. This is when you are switching from one slide to another and you get an animation on how the slide loads in. The way that we do this is on this left-hand panel where we can select from these slides, select the slide that you want to add the animation to. You can see the slide is selected when it is outlined by this blue box, like this second slide right here. Once the slide is selected, just right click on that slide, and then we can go down to this transition button here on this menu. So click into transition, and then we are brought over to the motion menu. This is where we can add in the slide transition that we want to add in. Right now, we can see the current transition is set to none. And if we click on this drop down menu, we can see all of the different types of transitions that we can add in. Now there's a few to choose from right here, so what I would recommend is playing around with these, but let's test out Dissolve. So we can click on Dissolve, and we can see this is currently the slide transition that we have added. To take a preview of how this is going to look, we have this play button at the bottom, so let's click on this and see how this transition is going to look. So as we can see right there, it's going to kind of fade out the old one and fade in the new one. So we can click on stop right here and get back to the edit. And what we can also do is use this slider right here to choose how fast we want this animation to be. I'm just going to leave this as 1 second. This is the default, but you can make this faster or make this slower. And once again, this is something to play around with. We can also test out different slide transitions. For example, let's go slide from right. And once again, we can click on play and see how this is going to look. Once you are happy with the animation that you have, all you have to do is close out of this motion menu, and we can see that this slide now has a transition as we have this icon next to that slide. We can then go down and do the same to the next one. So on slide number 3, we right click and go to transition, and then let's choose one of these other transitions. Let's go for cube. Once again, we can test this out by clicking on play and seeing how this is going to look. And then once we are happy with this, we just back out. And as you can see, slide number 3 now has this transition icon. So let's go back to the start and view this as a slideshow and see how this presentation now looks. There's the first transition, and there is the second transition. One final thing that I forgot to mention is if we just go back in, what you can also do is apply this to all slides if you want all of the slides to have the same transition. So this is cube. If I click apply to all slides, now all of my slides are going to have this icon. And if I go to the top and click on slideshow, with this set, the transition is going to be the same for all of these. And we are going to get the cube transition for all of these slides. So that is the first type of animation that we can add, and that is called a transition. Now let's take a look at how we can add animations to each of these individual images or even text that you might want to animate in. Let's start out with images. So to do this, we just click on the image that we want to animate in. And then along this toolbar at the top, we can see we have this animate option. So we can click into animate, and this is going to bring us over to the same motion area. So what you will notice is at the top, we have the slide transition. This is what we edited earlier. And then right here, we have object animations. So we can click into this and we can see the exact object that we are going to animate shown right here. So we can see this is the same as this. And then once again, we are just going to go through and choose all of these. One thing to keep in mind is if we go for fade in, this is going to bring the image into the presentation. And if we go for fade out, it's going to bring the image out of the presentation. So once again, we can go to the drop down menu and we can test any of these out. Let's go for zoom in. So we can select zoom in. Once again, the exact same, where we can use this control bar to choose the speed of the animation. And then we can click on play to test this out and see how this is going to look. So if I now click on my screen, we can see that's now going to come in. So that is the first one right there. Then we can click on this second object. As we can see, that is now highlighted. And then on this motion control panel, we click add animation. And by default, because we had this image selected, this is now going to show up right here. And we can choose the animation for this. So once again, I'm going to go for zoom in. And then right here, we can see by default, this is set to on click. So the way this is right now, I will just show you if I load this in. I have to click once to bring the first in, and then the second isn't going to do anything until I click again. However, we can set this up so that the second image is automatically going to come in after the first. The way that we do this is set this from on click to after previous. You can also go with previous, and this is going to load them both in at the same time. But if we go for after and then play, but if we set this to after, watch what happens now. I just click once and it brings the first in, and then I don't even have to click again for the second image to come in. We can also do this with text. So let's say we want to load in family recipes and we want this to be animated. Once again, we just click on the text, then animate, and then we can choose what we want this text to do. So we can select this fly in from top, but watch what happens now. Because of the order of these, this is actually going to come in last because it's at the bottom. Let me show you. You see how the text came in last? That's not really what we want. So what we can do is go to the side right here where we have these 6 dots, and we can select and drag this up. So because this is now at the top, this shows us that we want this animation to happen first, then this animation, then this animation. When it was in this order, it was going to bring in this animation, then the text last. So you can select the order of the animation that you want to come in. And then I'm actually going to change this from on click to after previous. And now if we take a look, that's a lot better. And those are the animations that we want. Now, the final thing that I will mention is these right here are in animations. So these are going to bring the images and the text into the presentation. But what you can also do is have animations to bring images and text out of the presentation. So what we want to do once again is select this right here, select the image, then add animation. And what we can do is also get this to go out. So we can say that we want this to fade out. Then we can set this up. I will do the same with this one, add animation, fade out. So there's a difference between the in and out. Ins are going to bring them in, outs are going to bring them out. So now I have both in and out animations for these images, and I will show you how this is going to look. So we have the standard presentation that brings them in, and then once they are in, because of the out settings that we set up, they are now going to fade out as well. So that is how you can add animations to your Google Slides. If you found this video valuable, don't forget to smash that like button and tap that subscribe button, and until next time, take it easy.